One of the things that we often see in media when they depict us as black people, one of the things they see is they depict us as mad, sad, or bad. I think that's a term which I've heard before. Right?
One of the three.
One of the three. All right, so we're either the criminals.
Say what?
All right, other acting a bit bit out of whack.
Yep.
All right, or we're depressed in some kind of deprivation.
Say, please, let us say.
Or it's some kind of like charity case or.
The gifts we bring don't mean anything to us, but their faces light up like nothing I've ever seen before.
Michael, do you have Danishes in Africa?
No. I've got a surprise for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It has to be extremes.
It's got to be.
Caricatures.
It's got to be extremes. Yeah, extremes, and this contributes to your self-worth.
Yeah.
So if you're seeing those images, it's very difficult for you to turn around and think, because one of the things which you'll see on other YouTube channels and everything else, and professional development, personal development gurus will sit down and say, you need to improve your self-worth. You need to improve your self-worth. Yeah, and they just like give these reasons. Yeah, you need to start like doing mantras and saying, I will be better. I will be strong. Yeah, and you say all these things, right? But that's not the answer. Like you can say, I will be strong, I'll be rich, I am great, I am powerful, all you want. But if you look out your window and you're not seeing that,
That's
and you're not seeing
really
any, and you're not
in your subconscious
and
mind.
you're not seeing any examples, and you put on the TV and you're seeing people who look like you who aren't doing anything constructive, right? Then those mantras won't work.
But this is also a point that you're making, in that once you really start to understand that you have a set of values, what you consume deeply affects you through your subconscious mind. Because remember, the subconscious mind is a bin and it absorbs everything. So unless you're highly intentional about the materials you're digesting, you are a victim of a white supremacist construct that is actually programming you to feel like a victim in society, to be dependent on the same breast that's poisoning you to suckle from.
You know, I see the ones which you gentlemen call freed slaves or liberated workers, out from morning till night, working like horses to make ends meet, and they never do. So, just tell me then, what's the difference between us slaves and liberated workers? Huh?
You should be ashamed of yourself.
Who? Me?
Yes, you. You're a dishonor to your race.
Waving that camera around, will you?
All right, but with all the thousands of tormented slaves around in this country, we have to run into that puppet, that wretched collaborator.
Which is largely what we do. And that's what I said about the perceived middle class who are only 3 months from being homeless if they lost their jobs, because all finance will wind up. And being in that position, it's very hard to tell that man when he's in the middle of his perceived success that that's the case. However, you fought so hard to fit in. All they have to do is just pull away that plinth that you're on, and you become one of the great unwashed. But how do you tell a man that, who's driving his car, who's living in his home with 2.5 children and experiencing the dream as far as he's concerned, who doesn't necessarily have to culturally relate to any of this?
Well, that's the thing. It's there's a lot of relatables in there. But it's difficult once you reach a certain I don't know, sometimes a certain level of education, but not necessarily. We're not talking necessarily
not conventional education.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You reach a certain level of formal education, you can start to discard and dismiss things which are coming from a more traditional source.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a fan of Benjamin's. He's a brilliant writer. He's raised an important debate. But in his article in The Guardian, he talks about his obsession with the future and not the past. We have to move on. We know the empire, in many ways, was a bad thing for black people. But in a way, this award is for his excellence as a writer. You know, future generations of blacks and whites need to see
why must
that black
his
people have
excellence be celebrated with an empire medal?
Well, you can call it anything you want, basically. It's not going to... Benjamin is bigger than the name of the award. That's my opinion. What he's saying, in effect, is that by accepting this award, he would be diminished in some way. I don't think so. He'll continue to write and to speak out, and he should do that.
Benjamin Zephaniah?
Listen, I want to criticise left, right and centre. I want to criticise the government, the monarchy, myself. If I join this club of monarchy, this club of empire, how can I criticise it? I mean, it doesn't open doors.
Can I give you an example?
It opens doors.
Benjamin does some brilliant
the
work.
wrong doors.
Okay.
Would we call that an indoctrination? Does it? And herein lies where I differentiate an education from an indoctrination. Because an indoctrination works for somebody else, where they want to position you, and an education works specifically for you. Because one of the things that we're avoiding is that at some stage, most of these professionals experience their N-word wake-up call, right? Okay. And when they get that N-word wake-up call, they want us all to respond to the N-word wake-up call.
Yeah, of course. It's like, they start panicking. Yeah. Screaming the alarm.
And we've all got to get involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there'd be outreach on LinkedIn. But the day before the N-word wake-up call,
well, they said
they were fine with it.
Yeah, they thought we lived in a post-racial...